why the Marvel movies are not overrated. Right, I would like to deliver my first point, which is trailer doesn't represent the full movie. So trailer doesn't represent the full movie. So trailer is important in movies because trailers will give first impression and the expectation to fans of the full movie. So Marvel movies tend to have bombastic and exciting trailers that could raise their expectations to high level. So this is because they would like to attract the people to watch. However, when they went to watch the movie, it doesn't exceed their expectation. This is because there are some of the trailers that overly shown some of the scenes that manipulate some of the scenes in the movies because they cut off the certain parts. So, for example, the Spider-Man Far From Home movie. So, as we all know, there is an antagonist named Mysterio in the movie, and in the trailer showed that Mysterio has the power to travel through multiverse. And then, however, the real movies, it turns out that Mysterio doesn't really have the power to travel through multiverse. It was just an illusion. So this left the spectators and the movie watchers to feel upset and feel disappointed because the trailer doesn't fit the movies, so they didn't reach their expectation. So, however, I would like to clarify here that not all of the Marvel movies are bad. Some of the movies itself really fit the trailers. For example, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Spider-Man No Way Home. But there are more examples of overrated Marvel movies, which are Eternals, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. These movies got lots of critics from the critics and the watchers at the platform that I mentioned before, Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. They got very low rating, not very low, but low rating because they are a bit overrated. All right. So next thing, I would like to wrap everything that has been said. I would like to reaffirm our stance, which is Marvel movies are not as revolutionary and top tier as the blockbuster worthy because most of the fans are left upset after watch the movie. So the other examples of better movies that is produced by other studios, such as Batman, The Dark Knight, Suicide Squad, X-Men Fury, and Men. So there are lots of other studios that can produce better quality of superhero teams. However, because of Marvel movies that are overrated, people tend to watch Marvel movies instead of other studios because of the overrated. So that's why this house would like to reaffirm our stance, which is Marvel movies are not as revolutionary and top tier as the blockbuster worthy. And with that, I raise my hand.
Thank you to the Prime Minister for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 4 seconds. Now, I would like to call upon the leader of opposition to give his speech. The floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Starting in 3, 2, 1. A very good morning to the Mr. Chairman, conscious timekeepers, honorable educators, worthy opponent team members, and my faculty team members. And lastly, members of the floor. So before I proceed with my points today, I would like to rebut the points given from the Prime Minister about the Marvel movie. Firstly, they asked about they asked us as a opposition to answer why this Marvel movie is not overrated. Firstly, I want to say their definition about overrated is quite low actually. So I, as the opposition leader, will come out with a new definition about the overrated. So, based on the Oxford Learner Dictionaries, overrated mean to have high opinion on someone, on somebody or something, or to put a high value on somebody or something. So, in this case, the someone that put the opinion and high value in the first place is the audience itself. So, why the audience say the movie is overrated? However, they themselves give the rating at the first place to the Marvel movie studios. So, moving to the next, their stance is because this trailer has left the upside for the viewers because of bombastic trailers. However, these trailers is the extracts of film or the broadcasts that used for the publicity. It's not the whole movie itself. So why does the audience rate the why does the audience rate the movies based on the trailer from the first? They need to have to look whole the movie first before they're giving their rating. Why do they feel upset because doesn't reach expectation? It is because the trailer is need to give a high expectation to push them to look forward for the movie, so they can see themselves why the movie is good enough. So the rating goes after watching the movie. So I don't think it is overrated. This after we watch the trailer at first. So moving to the next point, I want to rebut. Okay.
I want to ask you, in your opinion, what's the function of trailer?
So I have mentioned before, trailer is the abstract scenes, some of the scene put to give publicity, to push forward, to make the audience themselves go to watch the movie. So the ratings come later after watching the movie. So that's why trailer needs to give a high expectation so that audience come to watch the movie. It doesn't matter whether the Marvel movie also, all the other studios do the same thing in their trailer. It doesn't have to be the Marvel movie. In such thing like the song trailer or like what we in nowadays like K-pop trailer, they do left the high expectation. So do we left upset if we watch the scene is not as good enough as we expect? Not that really. So moving to the next one, I want to rebut. He said that this kind of trailer manipulated the scene in movie. So why does they think that this trying to manipulate it? Because this what does trailer do? Trailer do give us suspension, exciting feeling, so that the move the audience to watch the movie itself. So I have prepared that. Next, I will give you my burden of point as well as the speech sheet. I have the position leader. Will come up the point, which is this Marvel movie has the interesting storyline that they deserve with this, because our stand is they are rated based on their truly deserved. So the next, my deputy president leader will come up with the next point is the rating of the movie is meeting their budgets, and the next point is they have multiple well actors in their casting, and lastly will give the title in some of our kids. So moving to my first point, which is they have interesting plot line. So as we all know, Marvel movie has now has reached to the 27 movies. This storyline is good and have a nice rating from the audience since very long time because they have a good actor and this good storyline make the interesting. This type of storyline is more creative thing, creating more creative thinking of audience because the audience itself can involve in the movie by making some fan fiction novel or something like um trying to spot Easter bunnies in novel by doing comparison, like in trailers, they are trying to expect what will happen in the next movie. This not just involve the movie production, it's involve the audience as well. So that's why this movie, the storyline is really really suitable with their rating. So moving to the next, by the ancient line, they come up with the idea like cool superhero. The ideas like when the superheroes actually have a uh, superheroes has an image to us, not as I only doesn't superheroes doesn't rely on the child only, although also can although also look up into superheroes because superheroes they have the imaginative because how can I say that the superhero affect the societies because they promote the well-intentioned message to us about the standing and protecting for others. They have live courage and self-confidence and willpower to other people. So in our in so before ending, so our end goal is to uh uh so you want to prevent that discretion of hard work of Marvel movie crew has done because they are truly deserve with their rating. So I as position leader oppose with this motion. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you to the leader of opposition for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Now, I would like to call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to deliver his speech. The floor is yours.
Okay, I will start in 3, 2, 1. People say that it is the expectation that hurts. A very good morning I bid to the honorable judges, the timekeeper, audiences, and our most esteemed opponents. My job today as a Deputy Prime Minister is to do two things: that I will respond to the opponent's case, and secondly, I will give my arguments on why we should propose this motion. Now, let me explain why we are strongly believe that Marvel movies are overrated, highly overrated. I'm not saying that these movies are bad, but they are just overrated. These films do have some good qualities, like likable and consistent characters, but they also have some consistent flaws. First of all, the whole point of these movies is to make money. They are made by Disney, so you can't really expect that much from them. They are pushing more artistic films out of the theaters. Okay, so like our first speaker said that it will that those movie kills the opportunity of other studios to produce and to be watched by that produce more quality that should be watched for by us. But because of this, all the rumors, ratings that are overrated, people tend to watch Marvel movies. In many cases, these movies have been absolutely epic, though the sequels have left a lot to be desired. Introducing each hero has been something grand for fans for all kind to see. With Iron Man, for example, it was a welcome to the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, as it began to build momentum. While the Captain America, the First Avenger, it was a promise of things to come. But when the Incredible Hulk came into the scene, it was more or less an addition to the MCU and not a shiny moment, but the okay, and then as the franchise continued to roll on, however, it was evident that it was starting to run out of quality. And okay, so but first, before I came to my own arguments, let us take a look at what the opponent's first speaker has said. She claims that the Marvel movies have interesting storylines and plot. I will rebut more about this on my points. And she also said that the superheroes represent a good manner, represent a good image because the heroes are courageous and well-mannered. And he is being protective to protect us and the world from the villains. But he actually have the superpower. So we cannot relate to the hero because in reality we don't have superpowers. Let's say if the hero doesn't get all the superpowers, do he will be courageous and protective enough? So let me explain my point. Firstly, Marvel movies have poorly written antagonists compared to the other blockbuster movie. For example, Iron Man 3 is not delivered as well as it appeared in the comic. I know we cannot fully follow the sequence and all the written in the comic, but the thing is that we want to see the character. We want to focus on the character, not the costume, the actor, and so on. And then Batman, The Dark Knight, the Joker is the main antagonist, and the movie itself show that the main antagonist can influence the audience, that he has this difficulty. Batman has the difficulties to defeat others. Defeat Joker. Okay. They say that a movie is only as good as its villains. If that was true, the MCU would be the worst franchise of all time. Other than Thanos, the villains in the MCU are just underdeveloped, evil ones off. They lack personality and just want to rule the world. They are just used to provide conflict in the story. They aren't used as an intimidating force of opposition like Darth Vader, nor they are used to represent as an ideal that's formed in opposition to that of the heroes like Joker. They don't have any backstory and very boring. Now, then my last point is that it is the plot and storyline is typical. Typical Marvel movie consists one plot. There's one evil being that brings destruction to our planet. You can expect a pretty typical end to each Marvel movie. There's a big battle and the antagonist is always defeated by the protagonist. You could argue a movie like Infinity War, where half of the world disappears into dust. Doesn't have this typical ending that we can expect. This movie is no more than a part one to the other next movie like Avengers Endgame, where everyone is brought back to life. Mentioned our Prime Minister, she said that not all MCU movies is overrated. So that's why this motion must stand. Thank you.
Thank you to the Deputy Prime Minister for the speech.
Thank you to the Deputy Prime Minister for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 11 seconds. Now, I would like to call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to deliver her speech. The floor is yours.
Audio check. In the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, if there are no problems, then I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. A very good morning to I bid to Mr. Chairman, the honorable educators and potential opponent from the government side. I, as the Deputy Leader of Opposition, will be constructing my speech into two parts. The first part is rebutting the points that was given out by the government side, and then the second part is I will be delivering my own points on how we believe that Marvel movies are not overrated, and it is actually rated as to how they deserve. The first thing first is I would like to mention the stakeholder. The stakeholder of this particular motion is the audience for the movie themselves. Hence, it is the audience themselves that are pushing out the rating, not anyone else. Okay. And Deputy Prime Minister put out a very interesting quote. Expectation is the one that hurt. True, but expectations was done by oneself, so it's not something that you can be blamed on others. You can't blame on someone you expect from. You need to blame yourself for expecting something. Okay, now, without further ado, I would like to mention to reply one of the points that was given by the government, where they say that the example is that Eternals, the movie Eternals, are overrated. However, it is clearly written in Rotten Tomatoes where the rating is simply 47%, and the rating is extremely low, so it is definitely not overrated at all. So it is quite contradictory point over there. And then they also mentioned that Marvel movies, Marvel Cinematic Universe is actually killing other competitors. And they compare that there are other better producers such as DC. However, it is a fact that Marvel win over DC, where they have an internet criticism a little bit better score. Like Marvel have 58.73 rating. However, DC has 56.71. It is a slight win, but it is proven that Marvel is better as a whole. And then the government mentioned that the whole point of movie is to make money, and they shouldn't be pushing out artistic values out of the kids, out of the competitors. This is not something that simply happened to superhero movies at all. It is something that happened in every single aspect of the world. So it is unfair to blame on Marvel Cinematic Universe by themselves. And then, idolization. They said that will the superhero actually commit themselves to protect the society if they did not have superpower? Do you remember the first part of Captain America where he is actually a very thin and skinny guy? However, he still tried his best to commit for the army. That's how we see that the value to protect themselves, to protect the society, is come from within themselves, and superpower is just an addition to help them achieve that purpose. And then the Deputy Prime Minister also mentioned that he has a poorly written antagonist. However, I believe that assuming that the antagonists were poorly written is simply because the audience did not fully comprehend the extent of the writing that was intended to be delivered by the director. Okay, and then I will proceed to deliver my points on why it is not overrated at all. The first one, Marvel movies performance match their budget. Why did I say this? Because out of the 27 movies of Marvel, the total budget counts amount to between $5,223,000 to $5,382. This is quite a tremendous amount of money to be spent. However, we also need to take into the consideration of how much box office does these movies give. It gave the return of approximately $25,668,474,564. And that's how we know that the box office fully covered the, the initial deposit that they used to make the movie. So yeah, this from the ratio between the budget and the box office is where we can see that it is actually matching with each other, because there are multiple instances of movie that use a very large amount of budget. However, the movie flopped and failed to bring back the box office. However, this is not the case for Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. For Marvel movies, yep. And then we need to remember that Marvels also, they have a lot of prominent actors inside of their arsenal. And this is my second point. We get Chadwick Boseman, we get Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy, Robert Downey Jr., RDJ. Every single one of them are very well-known actors, in which, although you can say that maybe there are a little bit of plot holes, however, the plot holes that are inside of Marvel movies are actually, I believe that is an opportunity for the fans to come up with their own fan fiction, to come up with their own theory, and it makes the cinematic universe much more fun, because you have freedom to imagine things instead of them telling things one way. Okay, and then so although, yeah, as I mentioned, the plot holes, okay, although the plot holes are there, then the existence of these prominent actors actually cover up for that particular weakness, I believe. And then now, one more thing. Okay, sorry. And then not every single actors that I mentioned was prominent from the start. It is Marvel Cinematic Universe is also a life-changing opportunity. This is my third point, because first one, actors like Robert Downey Jr. In the first movie, he starred on the Iron Man one. He only get $500,000. In comparison, the one that he latest one that he starred upon, the Spider-Man No Way Home, sorry. He got $1 million per minute of his appearance. You can see how this particular movie merchandise, changed his life as an actor, changed his career. And then what you call it? Also, it is a part of life-changing opportunities towards the unfortunate. We can take, for example, the Indonesians. They are very poor. However, after the existence of Marvel Cinematic Universe, it come out like a sandstorm, like a very huge wave of famous things. And as a result, they were able to make plushies, pillows, and everything based on the patents of superheroes in Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is quite a fast touch point. However, it proved that the existence of Marvel Cinematic Universe provide them with the sense or with the method to continue their livelihood. And then I will go back to my own stance, where Marvel movies are rated as they truly deserve. If you were to dig onto the Rotten Tomatoes again, you can see that most of the movies are actually, most of the movies rated above 65%, with only Thor: The Dark World and The Incredible Hulk with 66 and 67%, respectively. However, everything else is over 80%. We can see how prominent it is from there. And then what we are trying to counter the argument that was given by the government is because we wanted to achieve the end goal. We want the audience to not discredit the hard work and effort that was put forward by the production crew of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you to the Deputy Leader of Opposition for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 3 seconds. We shall now hear the speech from the government whip. The floor is yours.
I'll begin in 3, 2, 1. A very good evening. I bid to the honored judges, ladies and gentlemen. I, as a third speaker, will clarify the context of debate and provide rebuttals. Second, compare both cases brought by both teams. Third, I will give the outcome of debate and reaffirm our stance. before I go to the opposition leader, before I rebut the opposition leader points, the opposition leader said that the rating of the movies, the Marvel movies, come from the trailer. But my Prime Minister does not mention nothing about the rating of the trailer. The trailer is just something to is the first impression for the Marvel fans. So when the trailer is being when the trailer come out, the Marvel fans will be thrilled, and they surely have the first impression. They surely have their first impression, and if when they watch the movie, the Marvel movie, they have their first impression and expectation on that movie, and they will feel sad and disappointed if the movie is not exceed their expectation, as my Prime Minister said. Prime Minister said. My Prime Minister also said that the trailer itself does not represent the full picture of the movie, as the comic itself, for example, the Iron Man 3, the comic of the Iron Man 3, not fully covered the movie. Yes, we in real life movie we don't have the ability to fully cover the movie, but it's so much different, and the fans is surely disappointed. My Prime Minister also said that not all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is bad at all, but most of them are overrated. I think there's some confusion and some misunderstanding from the opposition team. And going to move on to the first point of the leader opposition, she said that Marvel movie have interesting plot line. As my Deputy Prime Minister said, Marvel movie have a typical plot line. Why is this? Because we can predict the end of each Marvel movies, which bring destruction after they fight together, and at the end of big battle, the heroes will win the battle, and the antagonists will go to jail, will end up in a jail, like Loki disappear out of nowhere, and the antagonist itself in the Marvel movie this is not comparable to other movies, such as the movies, the DC movies, the Joker. The Joker itself has its own movie that has a better storyline than the Marvel movies itself. The Joker have the mental health disease that what caused him to be an antagonist that will fight, that be the enemy of Batman. The antagonists of Marvel movie also have a lack of personality. For example, like Loki. For example, like Loki and like for example, like Loki. We don't know his backstory. we only know the backstory of Loki from Thor, and it's just a surface, it's just the surface of its personality. We don't know as deep the personality of the antagonist as good as Joker and others. Move on to I will rebut the deputy leader of opposition. He said the Marvel movie is not overrated as it matched the budget, and the income that get from the box office will cover the initial budget that have been used to produce the movie. And ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of movies that have the box office that will cover the initial income of the movie, that the income that have been used to produce the movie, and there's a lot of there's a lot of movies that are also overrated. So what's the point by saying by having Marvel movies that match the budget, claim that the Marvel movies are not overrated. And second, I would like to rebut the second point, the life-changing, as mentioned before, that stakeholders is the viewer and the fan itself, not the actors. So what's the life-changing opportunity that can be met from Marvel movies? So with that, I will stand tall with we will stand tall with the motion, which is some Marvel movies are not as revolutionary and top tier as the blockbuster movie. With that, then let the motion stand.
Okay, thank you to the government whip for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 33 seconds. Now, I would like to call upon the opposition whip to deliver her speech. The floor is yours.
Am I audible? Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. All right, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, ladies and gentlemen, members of the hall, the honorable educators. I bid a very good morning. All right, so today, it's a modern day mythology that anyone of any age can get lost in. The Marvel movies, I mean. So superhero stories are simply timeless. And Marvel pioneered in the story of the relatable hero. Take Spider-Man, for example, like an awkward teenage boy who came to grips with his responsibilities as a result of his powers. The story was previously rejected by Marvel executives until Stan Lee convinced them to publish the story. So take the Fantastic Four, another one, who had their contentious family moments, but always emerged stronger together. Or even the X-Men, who face constant discrimination, but always stand up for what's right. So we all love Marvel because it's our modern day myths, and it has become a window for us to I'm sorry, not yet. For us to escape from day-to-day life into something more fantastical, yet at the same time is reflective of our modern day struggles. So it's a beautiful woven universe that connects so many beloved heroes and characters, and this is done with the perfect blend of comic book based writing, humor, and emotion to create the ultimate cinematic experience. I've grown up with the Marvel movies, especially Phase 3 from Iron Man and ending with Endgame. It's a good one. And so moving on, I'll be rebutting with towards the PM and DPM arguments before. So next. first thing first, that I will be about this. The Prime Minister said about the trailer. All right. So overall, I like the government's definition about overrated. It's high expectation of movie that has good story plot and fan services. So that exactly is what the Marvel movies are. So like I don't know if they are agreeing, if they are giving such definition, why they want to push forward this motion at all. This has believed that Marvel movies are overrated. So let's see what their arguments are. So this the Prime Minister said that one of her points was that the Marvel movie trailers are so disappointing. Like I mean, when the audience see the trailers and then they get high hope, and then after they watch the movie itself, and then their expectation was crushed. Like because for example in the Spider-Man, right, the bombastic trailer, right, it attract the audience, right? So Spider-Man has power to travel into a multi-universe in the trailer, but then again in the movie it is actually just an illusion, and then people will get disappointed. Actually, I want to ask you, members of the hall today, ladies and gentlemen, what is trailer actually? The government side asked my Prime Minister, asked my opposition leader about what is the meaning of trailer, right? So a trailer, it is a preview. I mean, a trailer, it is the purpose is to give a preview as is an advertisement for a future film that in the future will be shown in the cinema. So I mean, I don't know why it is such a big problem, such a big deal to be mentioned. Like, as are you implying that this a mere example of a trailer is one of the reason why you want to propose this motion, which is you want to believe that Marvel movies are overrated? I don't think that is strong enough. Like, are you sure? And are you even sure that every audience that have watched that are thinking the same as you? Like, have you stated any statistic that say that people are commenting that they are disappointed with the trailers and so on? No, right? So I don't think it's relevant enough. So moving on. So my second argument is my second rebuttal is, I'm sorry, I'm afraid you are my miss okay. So they don't really state what should be done after supporting this motion, right? So what I mean by that is they say that other studio has better quality Batman, and then that's why Iron Man 3 is overrated. They give the examples of Marvel movies, right? That is overrated, and then they say there are other studios that have better quality, like for example Batman and so on. And then but they didn't really say what should be done. Then if you support this motion, it has believe that Marvel movies are overrated, and then you want to support this motion, and then if you are supporting this motion, and so what will be happen if you are just the government side didn't even say that they want to support those other studios that they have mentioned that have better quality, like they have claimed so far. Like they want to support them instead. Like I mean, if you support this motion without even having any backup plan, like and then that's why it's just a waste of time, because Marvel movies have a really high rating by the viewers, the audience. That's why it is such a masterpiece. So if you want to stop this this movie, like Marvel movies, you want to like not appreciate the Marvel movies and so on, you want to stop or something, doing something that might give some stumble about upon the Marvel movies creation in the near future. So but you didn't even claim any ways to, like, you want to support any other studio or something. So that's why our end goal is our stance is we want to we want to prevent the discreditation of the hard works that Marvel production crews has done. So you don't want to just lose that. So I'm sorry. And then, like I've mentioned, they say that it kills the opportunity of the other movies that should be watched because it is overrated. So, like my deputy opposition leader has said already, so it is rated by the audience itself. But so you don't have any right to actually say that it kills the opportunities. If they have the credibility more than Marvel movies, so they will go beyond the Marvel movies. So, like the DC has internet criticism, like mentioned by my deputy OL. So it's not about the Marvel movies. So it's just Marvel movies are so great. All right. So that's why we from the opposition side, we want to oppose this motion because it's not enough. They didn't provide enough evidence about how they didn't provide enough eager to why they want to believe that Marvel movies are overrated. They just they just didn't want to agree that the Marvel movies are the most great above all that. And even they even claim that some of Marvel movies are great too. So I don't know why they want to push forth this motion actually today. So with that, we from the opposition side, I want to reclaim my stances, which is we Marvel movies are rated as what they truly deserve. So please, please the members of the hall, please choose wisely in opposing this motion. Thank you.
Thank you to the opposition whip for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Now, both of the government and opposition are being given 1 minute to prepare their reply speech. The time is up. I call upon the speaker from the opposition side to deliver their reply speech. The floor is yours.
Okay, audio check. Audio check. Okay, if there are no problem, then I will start my first speech in 3, 2, 1. Members of the hall, as my reply speech, I will first reaffirm the educators and everyone present on how and why we are the one that should win this particular motion. And then actually second one is what I will be doing first is mentioning the flaws that has been left behind by the government side. Okay, so without further ado, the first one is where I think the argument from the government side revolve around the poorly written storyline. And then but in the same time, they also say that the storyline is poor, bad because they are unable to adapt the comic. This implies that they actually acknowledge the creativity of the storyline of the comic itself. However, we need to remember that Marvel movies are PG-13 rated, so it has to be catered for teenagers. Hence, trying to make it trying to make it as detailed as the comic book is going to backfire because the comic book is 18 plus. I bet if I'm not mistaken. And then they are also okay. Most of the arguments are not backed with a statistical proof. They are simply trying that audience just doesn't like most of the watcher, most of the one that go watch a movie end up disappointed. And this is, I think, mostly come from social media assumption. And we need to understand that social media is not a reliable source of information because everyone tend to favor the negativity more. They tend to spread negativity more than positivity, especially on social media. Hence, I believe that the first one is hence, I truly believe that their arguments are not backed with the proper evidence, making them invalid. Again, then why we should win? Starting from our stance. Our stance is that we are, we are trying to, our stance is that we say that Marvel movies are credited as how much they should be. We are not saying that Marvel movies are the, the perfect movie or the perfect franchise for the movies, superhero movies. No, we are not saying that at all. We are saying that every single movie that has ever appeared inside of the Marvel franchise, in the side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, are rated accordingly. Why we say this? We can see at Rotten Tomatoes, a bad movie like Eternals get a bad rating, a good movie like Endgame get a good rating. So yeah, it truly does being rated as how they deserve to be, with the statistical proof over there. And then our end goal is that we simply don't want the audience to discredit the hard work and effort that has been put forward by the production crew. And then the Glaciers of Wine, I forgot, I think this is one of the things that I need to mention. Prior to that is the acknowledgement of the comic. And then there is one more thing. Two more things actually. The first one is that I think it is quite a weird thing because we are discussing about a superhero movie and then suddenly they brought upon idealization into real life. They say that in real life we don't have a superpower, so it is not relevant to idolize a superhero. However, they bring back to the Batman and Joker thing. So it is quite contradictory. And then secondly, also they said that the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is overrated. Okay, not the whole, sorry. Some of the cinematic universe are overrated. However, and then they said also that there are a lot more producers that have the potential to make a better movie. However, the only example that they came up with is Batman and Joker, maybe because it resonates with themselves. Who knows? Okay, then that is the clash of points. So the worst case scenario in which the motion is rejected is that maybe if we say that Marvel movies are not overrated and then someone go watch that and then they become disappointed with the result, then I would say it is the worst case. However, it is still onto themselves because they, it is impossible to make a perfect movie that fits everyone's taste. And it is also on them because they did not study how good that movie according to their preferences. And in this case, ratings will tell the actual story. And then the best case scenario, where the motion is passed, is rejected, is that we are able to credit the producer properly as their hard work, and the audience get to enjoy a movie without any prejudice. And as a result, other competitors will try to improve themselves to compete with the prominency of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With that, I believe that the motion still stands. Thank you.
Now to conclude, let's welcome the speaker from the government side to give their reply speech.
I will start in 3, 2, 1. All right. We have come to an end of the motion, and I will conclude all of the motion today with this reply speech. And first of all, I will state the flaws of the opposition. So, in our opinion, we think that the opposition team doesn't really understand the word overrated, because they correlate the word overrated with the budget and profit. Yes, we didn't deny that the Marvel movies could get a large profit. However, this is because they are overrated. Just because they are overrated, meaning that people will expect certain things from the movie, but they will be left upset. Yes, they get the money because people go to watch the movie because of the overrated. However, when they watch, they will feel upset. They still get the money, but the ratings still stay lower than expected. All right. The second point is the opposition also said that we didn't give any solution. I think that this is so wrong because our solution is by not producing any bluffing trailers that could get consumers excited for nothing. We did mention the solutions. This shows that the opposition team didn't really pay attention to us. And then the next point, I don't know why the opposition side is scared to accept our POI. This shows that the opposition team fails to engage with us, and we just want to discuss the discussion to go in two ways and not just in one way for them. All right. Next, with our stance. Next, we didn't say that all Marvel movies are bad. I repeat, not all Marvel movies are bad. We just mentioned that some Marvel movies are bad. Some Marvel movies are overrated. Yes, Marvel produce good movies. We didn't deny that. That match the trailers, great storyline, and greatly written antagonists. However, there are also some that didn't overrated, like the examples that I gave earlier, such as Spider-Man Far From Home, and then Iron Man 3 and Internals. So hence, this is because why our stance, which is some Marvel movies are not as revolutionary and top as the blockbuster worthy, stand strong because of the left outside and unexceeded expectations from the movies. And we think that our team, government team, did better because we address all the problems and give clear solutions that will affect the consumer's experience in watching movies. So with this, I will go through our points, which is the first one is why Marvel movies are overrated, because trailers that manipulate some of the scenes to raise the consumer's expectation. The second one is the poorly written storyline that leave people disappointed after watching. And the third point is the poorly written antagonist that doesn't fit the character in the movies, like the comics. Okay, and then our government team, and then the worst case scenario of this motion is that it is not impossible for the consumers to stop watching Marvel movies because of the left upset feeling. They will not watch anymore and causing Marvel movies to be ousted from the industry. And then the best case scenario is with the overrated expectation from the consumers, the Marvel studios could keep on getting profit from them and just stay in the industry. And then I would also like to point out, thank you to the opposition team for standing with the motion. We also stand with the motion. With that, thank you.
That is all for this round's debate session. On behalf of the House, I thank the adjudicators for their assistance. I congratulate all the debaters for their performance. Now the host will assign all the adjudicators to the breakout room to discuss, while the debaters please remain in this room in the meantime.